If you're a senior architect, you know that the Big Bang cloud migration is, well, it's a minefield. So in this explainer, we're going to break down how you can architect a much smarter plan, one that's strategic, sequenced, and actually delivers business value without all the drama. Let's dive in.
I mean, come on, have you been there? I bet you have. A migration kicks off, everyone's optimistic, and then it just gets completely bogged down. You're wrestling with crazy complexity, dependency hell, and stakeholders who are getting more and more frustrated by the day. It's a classic scenario, and it is painful.
So the real culprit behind that lift and suffer situation? It's almost always the Big Bang myth. It's this really dangerous idea that you can just treat a massive, complex migration like flipping one giant switch over a long weekend. But, in the real world, that completely ignores the tangled web of systems and processes and people. It's pretty much the fastest way to fail.
What we really need is a total shift in how we think about this. We've got to move away from that high-risk, all-or-nothing chaos of the Big Bang and move towards something that's ordered and iterative. The goal here isn't one massive make-or-break moment. No way. The goal is a series of small, incremental wins that build momentum and keep the risk under control.
Okay, so how do we actually create that order out of the chaos? Well, the answer lies in something called the wave framework. This is the strategy that turns that scary, monolithic migration into a totally manageable, value-driven program of work.
So what in the world is a migration wave? This is so important. A wave is not just a random bunch of servers you decided to move this month. No, it's a carefully chosen group of applications that are moved together for a really specific strategic reason. To keep things working, manage all those pesky dependencies, and deliver a concrete piece of business value. And the beauty of this is that the process for building your wave plan is actually pretty simple. It just follows these 3 steps. First, you're going to group all your applications. Then, you'll sequence those groups onto a timeline. And finally, and this part is absolutely key, you have to socialize that plan to get everybody on the same page.
All right, theory is great, but let's make this real. We're going to walk through a practical case study to see exactly how this works in the wild. It just makes so much more sense when you can see it in action.
Okay, here's our fictional portfolio. Now, if you're an architect, your brain should immediately start spotting the patterns, right? Look at the marketing site. No dependencies, super low risk. Then you see how the user portal and the payment gateway both rely on that auth service. And then, oh boy, look at the reporting DB. It's tied to a legacy mainframe, which makes it the single riskiest thing on the list. These are the exact clues we need to build our waves.
So, based on what we just saw, our first group is a no-brainer. The marketing site is the perfect pathfinder. It's got low risk, zero dependencies. It's the ideal candidate to let the team test out their process, make sure the landing zone is solid, and score an early, visible win. This is all about building confidence for the much harder stuff that's coming later.
All right, we've got that first win under our belt. Everyone's feeling good. Now, Wave 2 gets a bit more serious. We're going to tackle a set of core, high-value services. The auth service, the user portal, the inventory API, they're all tightly connected. By moving them together, we make sure that this whole chunk of business functionality stays working. See what we did there? We're migrating a capability, not just a list of apps.
And at last, we get to Wave 3. This is where we go after the big one, that complex reporting database. But here's the thing. By now, the team has 2 successful waves behind them. They've learned a ton. They are so much better prepared to handle the high risk that comes with that mainframe dependency and whatever refactoring it needs. We saved the hardest part for last on purpose.
So, grouping the applications, that's half the battle. Now we've got to actually sequence these waves into a realistic roadmap that the whole organization can get behind.
And here's what that could look like. But notice something really important here. It is not just a list of deployments. In Q1, we make sure the landing zone is ready before we even think about deploying Wave 1. Then, in Q2, look at that, we actually pause deployments to focus on training the team. This timeline weaves together the tech, the people, and the process into one single, logical plan.
As the architect, this is your job. You have to look way beyond the code to build this timeline. You got to be asking these tough questions. Is our cloud platform actually mature enough for what we're about to do? Is the ops team really trained on these new services? And the big one, is the budget actually approved and ready to go for the work we're planning?
Visualizing the budget like this tells such a powerful story to your stakeholders. Wave 1 is pretty cheap, right? It's our pathfinder. But Waves 2 and 3, with all their complexity and business value, they eat up most of the resources. This chart makes it crystal clear what's driving the cost. It's the complexity, not just how many servers you're moving.
Okay, So you've done all this work. You've got a brilliant plan. But you know what? It means absolutely nothing if it just stays on your laptop. The final, most critical step is to get out there and socialize it, to get real buy-in from your stakeholders.
This is literally how you win hearts and minds. Instead of talking about migrating servers, you tell a story about unlocking new business capabilities. Use that visual roadmap. It makes the whole journey feel real. After Wave 1, don't just say it's done. You quantify the win. Say, we now have a marketing platform that can scale for our biggest campaigns. And when you have to talk about risk, translate it into language the business gets, like potential downtime or impact on revenue.
At the end of the day, this is the mindset you have to get across to everyone. You aren't just leading some technical project. You are architecting a business transformation. And your Wave plan? That's the blueprint that's going to make it all happen.
So the last thing I want to leave you with is this. Go take a hard look at your own migration plans. Seriously, are they just a boring list of tasks and dates, or do they tell a compelling story, a story about incremental value, managed risk, and real, honest-to-goodness business transformation? Because architecting that story, that's the real job.